Hey everyone, so in this section of lab, we will go through create and configure Azure Load Balancer, but this time we'll go with the internal load balancer. So what the difference between internal load balancer and external load balancer? That when we use external load balancer, which is also known as a public load balancer, in that case, the front end is accessible by a public IP address. But when we are talking about internal load balancer, then it's coming or private load balancer connectivity from a host which is located internally, or front end is a private IP address inside mm, our virtual network. So for this module or lab, we are going to very first thing we'll create a virtual network. Like here you see that intlb dash vnet 1. Then we'll create a backend servers, which are here you can see VM1, VM2, VM3. After that, we'll create a load balancer mm, uh, here. But here we'll create two subnets. One is backend subnet where I'll place all the VMs, and front end subnets, which will be ultimately for my front end, which is load balancer. Here you can see that one. And after that, we'll test the load balancer by using or by creating a test VM to see that load is balancing among these servers. And for this among servers, where there will be network security group. Also, we are going to use Azure Bastion subnet to connect these hosts. So let's start the lab now. So very first thing, we need to connect to the Azure portal. So here I have already connected to Azure portal. So now search for VNet, create, then here resource group, create a new resource group, give a resource group name, and give a virtual network name. Click next. It is going to security tab. So under security tab, we are going to use enabling Azure Bastion. So enable Azure Bastion, tick that option. Then we are going to give a Azure Bastion host name. And Azure Bastion public IP address, we are going to create a public IP address. So select that, create a public IP address, and give a name that for that. Then select OK. Then select next. So here we're going to change the address range, or so we are going to use 10.1.00/16. I'm going to delete the default subnet, and let's create subnet. So click add a subnet, and here give a subnet name, my backend subnet, and we are going to starting address 10.1.00, and size is 24. That is fine. And click add. So we have add backend subnet. Now let's add another subnet for front end. So select add a subnet, and this time give a name for front end subnet, and starting address 10.1.2.0/24. That is fine. Select add. And make sure, because you are using Azure ones, and so Azure Bastion subnet needs to be there that exist. After that, select on review plus create. Validation is in progress now. Passed. So click on create button. So deployment is in progress now. We can see that Bastion IP and VNet has been is created, and Bastion host is in progress. So if you go to that VNet and under settings, if we check the subnets, you can see that 3 subnets have been created. So now let's open a Cloud Shell. Click on PowerShell button. No storage account required, and then select the subscription and then click apply. So it is going to open a PowerShell terminal. So what you see there, that Bastion VM is still is in progress, but that's okay, because in our next lab we do not need Bastion VM at this stage, but we'll connect through using Bastion. Okay, let's go back there. Here now we are going to create 3 VMs, which will be in the same availability set, and this will be used for a backend pool of the load balancer. Let me clear the screen. Now type the command. Oh, before that, we need to upload those two, because we have not uploaded yet. So for uploading, we need to select that manage files and then click upload. We have downloaded those files, all files, so size M04, and then we are going to upload the files as you deploy JSON and as you deploy.parameter.json, and click on open. You can see that successfully uploaded 2 files. We check this time, you can see those 2 files are uploaded. Now we are going to execute the command to provisions all 3 VMs. So now if you go here and check for virtual machine, you can see no VMs are there. So execute this command. So give a password. Let me open a notepad and give a password. You can see that VMs are created. So let's go back to portal. And if we refresh the page, you can see 3 VMs are created. So now let's create the load balancer. So for that you can um, search here for load balancer. Click that load balancer options. Select create, and here you see that the two options are there: gateway load balancer and standard load balancer. In this case, we are going to create a standard load balancer. Select the subscription, select resource group. Give a load balancer name. Select region. SQ is standard. We are in our case, type is internal. Tier is regional. Then select next front-end IP configuration. Click on add a front-end IP configuration. And here give a name for the front-end IP. So we are giving the name is load balancer front-end. And here virtual network is that the one that we created VNet, and we have to select subnet, so front-end one. And assignment is dynamic. After that, click on save button. Now we are selecting front-end configuration. So front-end configuration, name load balancer front-end. Subnet is front-end subnet. Then click save. Then review plus create. Validation passed. Then click on create. So click go to resource. So we have just set up front-end configurations. Load balancer front-end. Now we are going to create load balancer resources. So like settings and backend pools, health probe, load balancing roles. So let's first create a backend pool and add VMs to the backend pool. So for that, under settings, select that backend pools. Then click add button. Here, add backend pool, give a backend pool name. This is your VNet, and backend pool configuration is Nick. And then click here, add button to the IP configuration section. And you can see those 3 VMs. So select all 3 VMs and then click on add. So you can see we have set that up, given name, then VNet and all 3 VMs. So click on save. Succeeded. So backend pool, we can see that 3 VMs. Now let's go back to load balancer section, or we can get that access even from here. So now we are going to set up health probe. So for that, under settings, select that health probe options. We are in load balancer page and we are setting those properties. So click on health probe, click add, And the health prop section, give a health prop name. Select a protocol type. Then port is 80. Path is slash. Interval we are giving as interval in seconds, so giving 15 seconds. Then click on save. So that has been saved. And now we are going to set up load balancing rules. Here, click on add. Give a load balancing rule name. Select the IP version, which is IPv4. And here we have to select front-end IP configurations, front-end. And then we have to say, check the backend pool, which is all three VMs. We are selecting that backend pool. Then protocol is TCP. Port is 80. Backend port, we are also using 80. And give the health prop name that we created. Session persistence, we do not need that one. It's kind of so that when the request is coming, it will go to the same VMs. Think that way. So we can select here source IP protocol, but in our case, we are selecting none. Then ideal timeout, we in minutes, let's select that 15. And enable floating IT, no, we don't want that one. So after that, select save button. So all the settings are in place now. In this section, we'll create a test VM which will be used to test the load balancer. So let's do that through console. Select here virtual machine. So now click on create virtual machine. In the basic tab, select the subscription, select the resource group, give a virtual machine name. Select the region, then availability options, no infrastructure redundancy required. Then image, let's say that we can see 2025 data center server core x64 gen 2. For our lab perspective, this is the one, Windows Server 2025 data center server core x64 gen 2. And then size wise, D2S standard D2S V3 to vCPU and a GIB memory, so that is fine. And after that, to connect, we need to give a username and password. Let me copy that one. And next disk, we are taking on the default one. Then click next networking. The networking tab, virtual network, that is fine. Then subnet is my backend subnet, that also good. Public IP, There should be no public IP. Select none. NIC network security group. We are going to select advanced and then configure network security group. Select my NSG. And after that, you can see that load balancing option, none. Then click review plus create. Validation is going on. And passed, then click on create button. The deployment is complete. You can go to resource and we can see that our test VM is ready. So you can check that also from virtual machines. So this 4 VMs, these 3 for backend pool, and this is for testing purpose. So now let's go to all resources. Open into new tab. Go home. Go to. You can select that from here, easy. Select the load balancer. We are just get the IP address, so we can see that front-end IP is 10.1.2.0. Now let's go back here and click on my test VM. In the overview section, click on connect and then connect via Bastion. Here authentication type, we have to select the user ID and password. Click connect. Pop up so make sure that you are allowing pop-up a blocker to connect again. So allow. So just giving different options. Let me close that one. Oh, still loading. Okay, let it load that one. On that to use data center server core, but I was getting some kind of connection issue. Or we have not connection issue. I was not getting that RDP connection option. So that for what I have done, I have just selected and Windows Server Data Center Azure Edition. So we have created this test VM again, and now let's go to connect and connect via Bastion. Then select the username and give the password. So what I saw that one when I was unable to get that Windows desktop in the browser. So here I saw that it mentioned if that server core is to you will still only see is config and PowerShell interface. Click connect. Select the browser and from the load balancer get the front end IP and paste it here. Press enter. You can see it is going to VM2. Now it is going to VM1. So we can see that load is balancing across the servers. So we have successfully completed our lab. If you have any questions, please add that into comment sections. Otherwise, see you into next lab.